It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news. This is the Southwest Outdoors Report.
Hi everybody, I'd like to welcome you into a beautiful fall day, the first week in December, headed into the wonderful holiday season. In addition to good family fun, there's a great thing that happens about this time of the year, and that's that the fishing gets really good for certain species around our region. In fact, the colder it gets, the better the fishing can become for white bass, hybrid stripers, and striped bass. And so to help us check that out and see how the fishing is, I'd like to welcome you into one of my favorite lakes over in northeast Texas. This is Lake Tawakoni. Tawakoni is one of the few lakes that has the rare triple of the white bass, the hybrid striper, and the striped bass all swimming in the same lake. There are a few lakes in Arkansas, a few lakes in Oklahoma that have that, but not many here in the state of Texas. So we're going to go out, check that out today, and show you a few cold weather techniques that will work to catch all three species. And while we're doing that, we're taking you around our region for your fishing reports from your favorite localities, including Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, both freshwater and saltwater. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got the Nitro Z8 rip-roaring and ready to go in Lake Tawakoni, and while we go down the boat ramp, we take you to Julie for the weekend plan.
In general, the Lunar tables are predicting poor fishing conditions across the area this weekend. The best times look to be in the afternoons, starting at 2:38 on Saturday and 3:35 on Sunday. Look for the sun to rise at 7:17 and set at 5:21. And evenings will showcase a crescent moon that is 29% visible. Stay with us, we're coming right back with fishing updates from around the area. Plus, I'll return with the Whataburger Ask the Pro question.
Hey, thanks very much, Julie. Before we actually launch the boat down the boat ramp, I wanted to mention one more thing. I'd like to show you my brand new loaded up Nissan Titan pickup. Now, in the 4 years before this one, when I had no relationship with anyone, I chose the Nissan Titan because it is the most powerful truck in pulling my Nitro bass boat of any truck I've ever driven. And I'd like to introduce you to some great folks at a great dealership in Fort Worth, Texas. It's Fort Worth Nissan. They're our brand new truck partners on the show, and you're going to be seeing and hearing about some incredible specials just for our viewers on the Southwest Outdoors Report, beginning in the off season and heading into our new 2014 season next year. So be watching for that. You'll see a link with this logo that you're seeing at the bottom of the screen. You'll see that on the front page of our website. You'll click on that and it'll be a special web page just for our viewers with some incredible specials. So be watching out for that in the future. So right now, this Nissan 2013 Titan pickup goes down the boat ramp. We'll be right back with some great fishing here on Lake Tawakoni.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Jean LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors, engineered for anglers. And by Nitro Performance Bass Boats, pure performance.
Got one. Big white. Big white bass. Oh my goodness. Look at the size of that white bass. We're on Lake Tawakoni today. I tell you, it's been about 1.5 years since I've been here. And the last time I was here, it was hot, summertime, and it was a whole different deal. I'm gonna put this fish back. We're out in open water. This is really an open water fishery. The last time I was here, all the bait fish was up near the surface, shad busting around the top, birds diving at them. None of that's going on now. Actually, the shad, which is the forage base here, has all gone down in the water column, and I'm seeing clouds of shad probably 25 to 35 feet down. And I'm drifting across the top of these big balls of bait fish, and I've got 2 hybrid or striper rods out trying to catch a big fish with a big bait. I'll show that to you later. And then I've got my little spinning rod here with a little white bass bait. See if I can catch a white bass, and we've got it started down there deep. That fish probably was sitting about 22 feet down over the top of that bait. And that's probably going to be the pattern today and really right on through the cold weather months. This is a good cold weather fishery. If you're looking for a lake to fish in the wintertime, Tawakoni is a really good one because all three of these species will bite no matter how cold it gets. Let's move along right now though up in Oklahoma and check in with Gary Dollahan, your Oklahoma fishing reports for this week.
As is the case with most of the Southwest Outdoors Report region, here in Oklahoma we take the outdoors, sports, and our families extremely seriously. Now those things all seem to come together more so this time of year than any other, especially as we get deep into this holiday season. For you die-hard anglers that are willing to battle this extreme Oklahoma cold that's moving into the state right now, two species continue to dominate the fishing reports. Blue cats, 35 to 40 feet. That's both in open water, suspended, and on the bottom. 35 to 40 feet, you're going to catch them on cut bait. In the case of crappie, 15 to 25 feet, look for brush piles, look for ledges that have some type of cover on the break line, or look for those fish suspended just off that break line in main creek channels. And as you likely have been hearing over the last couple of weeks on this program, we have two of our Southwest Outdoor Report family members who are going through some tough times right now. Our good buddy Cajun Phil in Louisiana recently lost his wife, Owetta, and we know that's tough anytime, but especially as we go into these holiday seasons. In the case of Southwest Outdoor Report's Julie Dobbs, she's dealing with a rare form of breast cancer. Julie's message board, as is Cajun Phil's, can be found on southwestoutdoorsreport.com. This is a great time of year to spend activities with family and friends. Let our buddies Cajun and Julie know that we're thinking of them. Bundle up, get out there and try to catch some of those fish. But one thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
Oh, there's a hybrid. There's what we came for right there. Gonna have to get the net after that dude. There we go. All right, there's what I've been working for. Catching a lot of white bass, and I wanted to catch one of those, and did. You can see there, it's got a swim bait, soft plastic jerk bait in his mouth. I think that's a little Moe's tackle job right there. Okay, there's the second species right there. There's the hybrid striper. You can tell him he's got broken lines down his side, and you can see these right in here. See how those are kind of broken and chopped up right in there. That's the key to telling, one of the keys to tell the hybrid. In fact, his other side has it a little more pronounced. And then on his tongue, he's got two little patches of teeth right on the inside tip of his tongue, and I don't know if you can see that or not. That's a hybrid striper right there, and they get a lot bigger than white bass. We're gonna let that one go back today. Well, here's what you want to do when you come out here to Tawakoni and really any of these lakes that have multi-species like this. You want to have a smaller spinning rod. You saw me catch those white bass earlier on that, and a little soft plastic swim bait. Also, you can use a little spoon, and then I use a bigger rod. It's a big 7.5 foot loose laser SL speed stick rod. That one hit a swim bait, as I showed you earlier. If you can get them feeding it all, they'll hit a big spoon like that. We'll talk about the location of where to find these fish on your favorite lake that's got them coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Well, right now, let's move you along to Louisiana. Check in with your fishing reports from there with Cajun Phil and Kevin.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana fishing or outdoor reports. As I mentioned last week, a lot of people are duck hunting and deer hunting right now, but you know what? We talked to several of the hunters who are hunting deer or hunting ducks. They're in the Atchafalaya Basin. They catch them a bunch of bass whenever they're coming in after their deer hunt or after their duck hunt. So it doesn't mean you got to hang up that rod and reel. Same thing Toledo Bend last week. I saw several hunters there. They had their rod and reels. They shot a few ducks in the morning, picked them up a few bass on the way back in. Also, it's almost wintertime. It's getting cold. If you do hang up that boat for the wintertime, make sure you winterize it, because one thing you want to do is get in that boat next year, crank it off, and it starts up really good. Keep in mind, friends, we operate the Cajun Paradise Lodge and Charters here in Southwest Louisiana. We have one of the finest lodges on Calcasieu Lake. We got 5 or 6 very good guides. Once again, I want to thank everyone for all the prayers and all the well wishes about me losing my Reno redhead. It was a very disastrous thing for Old Cajun, but I'm hanging in there, and I tell you what, I'm going to be back with you again next year. We'll see you next week right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Till then, this is Old Cajun Phil for Captain Kevin, who's out there shooting some ducks, saying happy fishing and hunting, and may God bless. And we're going to see you folks next week. Bye-bye.
Got it. Got him. That's a big white bass. Man, what a white. Wow. All right, well, let me mention something to you before we go to the next break here. The lake, as I mentioned, is 9 feet low, and most all the boat ramps are out of the water. There are 3 remaining in the water this week at the time we're shooting this, and we're shooting this the same week it's airing, so this is current information. There's one at Anchor Inn, one at Tawakoni State Park, and one at Holiday Marina. Those are the only 3 boat ramps that I know of that are actually still accessible, and those are not going to be accessible for very long. We'll be back for more big whites, hybrid stripers, and I hope to catch a striper before the day's out. Be right back.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Mercury, the official outboard of the Southwest Outdoors Report for 11 years running. By Academy, right stuff, low price, every day. By Tracker Boats, fish the finest. And by Whataburger, just like you like it.
All right, there's one more white for you right there. Man, we are catching them. Seems to be mostly a white bass deal today though, so let that one go back. Let's talk a little bit about location, everybody. Welcome to your Southwest Outdoors Report on Lake Tawakoni. Where are you going to find these line-sided fish, whites, hybrids, and stripers in the upcoming cold weather months? Well, here at Lake Tawakoni, and this goes for lots of lakes around our region, you're going to find them one of 2 ways. First, we talked earlier about the bait fish. These are open water fish. They're not on any structure, no cover, no timber, no humps, no nothing. They're just out in open water, anywhere from 30 to 60 feet deep, and they're only keying on those bait fish. So you find those balls of bait fish, and they're either going to be above or below those schools, open water fish. Secondly, though, you're going to find them on structure in the wintertime. And they love to key on anything that rises up off the floor of the lake. Underwater humps are just perfect. Something that comes up to maybe 20 feet and is surrounded by 40, that's key. Underwater points, long skinny points that drop off into deep water, real key spots. You can also catch them on riprap that ledges out and drops off on a ledge. And then underwater river and creek channels, anything that has a big flat and then drops off into a channel. Those are the key spots, structure-oriented spots that you can find these fish in here at Tawakoni and all across our region, all during these upcoming cold weather months. Let's move along right now and check in with some more fishing reports for you. Here is Brian Hughes in Texas, followed by Bill Olson with your saltwater report.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Johnson's Fiberglass and Collision Repair. Now, winter may not feel like it's here just yet, but the cold weather's on the way, and you'll need a cold weather refuge to fish this winter. Fayette County, Squaw Creek, Monticello, all good choices because they're all power plant lakes. There are many more across the state. Look up your nearest power plant lake and get yourself familiar with it, because they all have one thing in common that's very good for fishing, and that is warm water. The hot water discharge warms all the water around it and brings it to a comfortable level for not just bass, but all species of fish. And comfortable fish mean active fish, and that means active baits. You'll be able to use your top waters, your spinner baits, your Cinco jerkbait type baits all through the winter on these power plant lakes. Also, you'll find that the fish will start to spawn about a month to 2 months earlier on a power plant lake than a regular cool water lake. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Johnson's Fiberglass and Collision Repair. Be sure to check out our weekly blog on the website. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, after a brief warm-up this week, this weekend sees another cold front arrive along the Texas coast. and temperatures will be below average. It also looks like we could add some wet weather to the mix. However, once things settle on the backside of the front, look for birds to continue to work from Sabine to West Matagorda. Anglers have been picking up some nice trout in the West Galveston Bay Triangle from Greens to Meekums to Karankawa Reef. Now, the intercoastal waterway and the bays and channels connecting to it out of Freeport are holding some good trout and redfish. Fish the available shell around the mouths of these areas. Also, the back lakes in behind Matagorda Island have been good for those fishing the mud grass bottom areas. Pay attention to the mouths that drain these back lakes. Also, the deeper ends of the reefs in San Antonio Bay are paying off for anglers fishing live finger mullet on Carolina rigs. Soft plastics work down the sides of the reefs have also paid off. Now, the deeper flats along the Corpus Christi Ship Channel and the crash channels near Packery Channel have been good for trout. Key on the areas below cuts that drain the flats. Out of Port Isabel, Longbar has trout hitting topwater lures and cut bait. Mexiquita Flats has given up trout on live shrimp under a popping cork, and the Ship Channel has its winter variety of fish. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Lubes, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. And by Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for one of your questions to be answered by a fishing professional on the Whataburger Ask the Pro. This week, Shori in Dallas asks, what can I do to keep my child from getting bored while fishing? For the answer, we checked with Kendall Newson, who heads up the Teach a Child to Fish organization.
Well, some things that you can do to keep your kid interested in fishing when you take them out. You know, if the kid is getting bored after 15 to 30 minutes, it's all in your planning before you go fishing. Before you go fishing, make sure you take the kid to the local grocery store or Bass Pro Shops. Allow him to pick the perfect pole. Allow him to be in the picking of the lunch that you're going to serve him. Make sure you get some Skittles or some candy, maybe some ice cream in the cooler. So when he start to get bored, you can give him a treat or you can give him something to enjoy himself that he or she has picked. And I think that's the biggest thing about when they start to get bored. Make sure they have something to do on the water that kind of keep their mind engaged in being in the outdoors. And treats are a wonderful way to get kids and keep them engaged and keep them not being bored on the water.
Thank you, Kendall. If you would like one of our pros to answer your question, just visit southwestoutdoorsreport.com, click on the Ask the Pro link, and send us your information. Now let's see who wins a pair of brand new Costa sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
There's one. Look at the size of that white bass, will you? Man, we've caught some big whites today. All right, thanks very much, Julie. We're still out here on Tawakoni, just catching them. Been whites, a few hybrids. Man, the whites have been absolutely giant. That's just a big old white bass. Back he goes. All right, it's time right now for the Costa Catch of the Week winner for this week, and he is Dustin Trimoire of Fredericksburg, Texas. He's showing off a big Lake Fork bass. This dude weighed 10.5 pounds, and this week you actually get a 4 for 1 because we've got 3 more big bass that were caught at Lake Fork. They're actually not the winners because Dustin is the winner this week, but these are worth showing you. Rob Matthews caught an 8.5, Sean Russell caught an 8, and Todd Hiley caught an 8 as well. And in case you missed it, just a few weeks ago, Lake Fork produced the season's first Cheryl Lunker bass over 13 pounds. So Lake Fork is coming into that time when those big ones are going to start showing up. If you'd like to enter the Costa Catch of the Week contest, all you have to do is go to our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. Over on the right side of the front page is the Costa Catch of the Week box. Click in that, follow the instructions. You could be our next winner. You can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles at their website, and you can get there easily off the front page of our website. You can see this month's frame style of the month, the pair that I've been wearing on this week's episode called Tuna Alley. This week on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, I want to show you a couple of key elements if you want to catch some of these big hybrids or stripers or even some of these big whites. As I mentioned earlier, this is the Lew's Laser SL Speed Stick rod. It's the easily recognizable red color. And the reel that I love to use on these big fish like stripers and hybrids is the Lew's Super Duty Speed Spool Reel. It's geared especially for big fish in case you hook into a giant. Also this week, I would like to mention the Magellan brand outdoor clothing that's available at your local Academy Sports and Outdoors store. They just rebranded and relaunched the Magellan Outdoors brand in 2013, and you've seen me and all of our reporters wearing it all season long. They have shorts and pants and shirts, particularly in these fishing style shirts. They've got bug-proof fabric, they've got sun-proof fabric, they've got stain-resistant fabric, all the things that those of us who love to fish and those of us who love to hunt really love in our clothing. Check out the full line of Magellan Outdoors clothing, your local Academy Sports and Outdoors store. This week on Stuff That Matters, I want to talk to you just a moment about these. These are the thin plastic single-use bags that you get every time you go to the grocery store or the convenience store, almost any other kind of store in our region. When these bags get into our lakes and rivers, and particularly our oceans, they break down into tiny little microparticles where they are sucked into the gills of fish. They're eaten by turtles and other marine animals, and it kills many thousands of those every year. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Number one, stop using these bags. Get your own cloth permanent bags, put them in the car with you. Every time you go to the store, take them in and use those. Secondly, if you do have to use these bags, please recycle them. Now, you can't put them in your regular residential recycle bins. They clog up the conveyor belt, so you have to recycle them in a special way. You have to save them up, take them back to the grocery store, and most major grocery store chains will recycle these bags properly. Do our environment a big favor. Stop using the bags, or at least recycle those that you do use. Hey, thanks for joining us this week from Lake Tawakoni. It's a good lake, one of the beautiful lakes that has all three species, white bass, hybrids, and stripers. I think these fish will bite all winter long. They're great cold weather fish, and they're also in many other lakes around our region. Hey, don't forget to join us for our show next Thursday night. It will be our season finale. The last episode of the 2013 season will be on at 10:30 unless the Dallas Stars game runs late. If it does, we'll be on right after the post-game show. We will also be on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. Set your DVR for that airing because it never changes. The latest episode of our show is always right on the front page of our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com in full HD, and you can catch up on all the past episodes of the show by clicking on the YouTube logo on our website, and by clicking on the Facebook page on our website. You can go to our page where you can see lots of news, photos, and video that you won't see here on the television show. From Lake Tawakoni, Texas, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all. Don't use these.